Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN TV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.
The Niger Delta has become rife with insecurity, which continues to threaten the region's socio-economic and political stability. This was the thrust of a report unveiled recently at a press conference by the Niger Delta Dialogue, a coalition of non-governmental organizations working for sustainable peace and development in the Niger Delta. Correspondent Takanami Ofori has details.
A coalition of non-governmental organizations under the aegis of the Niger Delta Dialogue recently undertook a study of the state of insecurity in the Niger Delta and came up with findings indicating an emergence of new security challenges in the region. The report, which is the outcome of close interactions with actors involved in violence, conflict and insecurity across the South-South geopolitical zone, has it that the degree of insecurity has expanded in recent times. According to the report, insecurity is fueled by widespread cases of kidnapping, armed robbery, oil theft, and bloody clashes among rival gangs across major oil-producing states of the Niger Delta.
In almost all the communities that we deal with within the region, we saw proliferation of cult groups, that constitutes very serious security threats, not only to the life of the people, but even our traditional governance space.
In their submission, authors of the report maintained that insecurity had impacted negatively on the socio-economic and political development of the Niger Delta. The report identified a prevailing violent political culture, depleting foreign direct investment, disruption of social life, and a resultant atmosphere of fear as manifestations of insecurity in the Niger Delta.
Governments should enforce and implement existing laws against criminality and illicit circulation of small arms and light weapons.
Persisting insecurity in the Niger Delta is in spite of a peace deal brokered under the Presidential Amnesty Program, which was introduced in 2009 by the government of late President Umaru Yar'Adua to end many years of armed conflict in the region. Implementation of the amnesty program had resulted in a ceasefire that was rather short-lived. In 2016, the peace process was truncated following resumption of hostilities. Consequently, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari resumed talks with stakeholders in the region, notably the Pan-Niger Delta Forum (PANDEF), which presented to the federal government a 16-point demand as precondition for lasting peace in the Niger Delta. With most of the demands left unaddressed till date, conveners of the Niger Delta Dialogue insist that the federal government has reneged on its promise to transform the beleaguered Niger Delta region. For them, what has been achieved so far only amounts to piece of the graveyard.
Insecurity is not just a problem in the north or the northeast. It's very much a problem in the Niger Delta. And just because the oil and gas continue to flow does not mean that things are peaceful here.
Until our communities, the government, the civil society speak against idolizing violent actors and settling them with contracts and all that, I think these issues we are discussing is not going to end.
To stem the ugly tide of insecurity in the Niger Delta, organizers of the Niger Delta Dialogue have appealed to the federal government to adopt a more collaborative security strategy to effectively combat crime in the region. The group also enjoins the government to address social injustice, which is at the heart of conflict in the Niger Delta. Considering that persisting insecurity amounts to a lose-lose situation for all parties to the conflict, community leaders in Nigeria's oil-rich region are also expected to take up active roles in peace building to foster reconciliation and social change in the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta,